in terms of when we get into service redesign, and at its basic level, some of the options that might start to develop. Kelly and Roy mentioned earlier, but whole systems and the approach that we're looking to put through, which is one around our people and the way that we do things. The commercialised approach is just something I think that is going to become more and more familiar. If you look across into England, and in terms of the way that they've had to react to some of the upfront cuts and the financial challenges that they're facing, you will see a lot of that playing out. And in fact, looking across the border is quite helpful in the fact that they've actually been through some of this experience in the last couple of years. Because Kelly referred earlier in terms of actually going out, not just into out elsewhere into Wales and into the UK and globally. One of the key things is about understanding where people have tried things elsewhere and actually where they've actually failed. Because that's actually quite a good learning experience. We've played some of that out in terms of some of our discussions in 21st century schools, looking at whilst they might be fantastic to deliver digital platforms right through. There's a fantastic case in point in terms of Microsoft, who deliver School of the Future in the States. Done completely wrong, huge amount of investment, lots of lessons to be learned. That just plays out elsewhere in all myriad of different services. In terms of new service models, mutualisation, somewhat of a buzzword, but I think something that's going to develop significantly within public sector circles as we move forward, as are cooperatives and community interest company solutions in terms of being able to actually host and deliver their services through different vehicles. In terms of optimising the use of our assets, I think what will play out in terms of service redesign is an inward look at some of our what I call capital in the purest sense. Making sure that we're making best use of our people, making sure we're making best use of our property. There is a strategic property review that has been embarked on, looking at how we look to rationalise our buildings. That is something that just fundamentally will need to happen. And I guess feeds and teases into total place. Vehicles similarly, we expend significant amounts of money on transportation, whether it be home school transport, our fleet, etc. Again, another key area to look at. Let's learn lessons from how others have actually tackled this elsewhere, and let's learn from that. Let's bring some of those people to the table to have some of those discussions. It might not just be in a public sector environment, it may be in a completely commercial setting. There may be something that can be taken from there and actually applied to what we're doing within the authority. Co-design, co-production and co-delivery, I think these will be terms that you will become more and more familiar with, not just through what the authority is doing, but I think nationally. The need to actually engage with communities and actually develop sort of co-owned solutions to service delivery. Volunteering, where Simon there is. Volunteering is something that obviously features within the social care environment. Something we've talked around. And similarly with community ownership. But I mean, the final point is one around a clear recognition that we do not have all the answers. That is one of the reasons why Go Find Come Play comes in, because there is a need to do research. PLCs across the world, why are they as big as they are? Why do they grow as they do? It's because they spend huge amounts of money in research and development. UK businesses have been criticised actually, as have European businesses, for the actual retrenchment away from R&D. And it's one of the reasons why some areas of growth has plateaued. So there's a clear opportunity there for us. Kelly's mentioned this, but I think I want to really touch on it, particularly the outcome stuff. I know we've been in discussions lately on making sure we've got appropriate mechanisms for actually evaluating outcomes. The impact of whatever comes out of service redesign, you know, fundamentally that return on investment back out into the community. I think as the authority and as authorities change, I think some of the current measures, I think reflecting back on the improvement plan and some of the PIs that are featured in there, some of those are actually not appropriate. They're not appropriate measures, and we need to wise up, I guess, you know, as officers, in order to make sure that what we're looking to capture is proper data that actually demonstrates clear outcomes.
Okay, I think we're on the home straight now, but you all have to get involved next. But we talked a lot about this afternoon about opportunity, but you know, even though I am the eternal optimist, I think there's some challenges as well. Can you just go to the next one? Yeah. Thank you. You know, some of what we're talking about this afternoon is massive, isn't it? You know, we are talking about change on a huge scale, at a huge level. And sometimes, you know, when you've worked in the same environment for a long, long period, conventional thinking, the constraints that imposes, really, really difficult to shake, and I think we have to recognise that. We've got some great ideas, I hope you think they're great ideas, and we've shared lots of them with you this afternoon. But process discipline is key, because we've got great one-off examples of innovation and creativity that I think are starting to come together to create a really nice narrative. But they've got to be embedded in our culture now. They have to be embedded in a cultural process, because we really believe that culture is what you grow people in. So they do have to become systematised. So that's going to be really important for us as we move the challenges onwards. I've talked loads about engagement, so we can't be clearer about how important that actually is. Because how do we know we're doing the right work if we don't properly and meaningfully
just one thing
engage?
on that. It's about communities' needs. It's not always about communities' wants. Because your priorities are protecting the vulnerable, educating our children. That, you know, that may not be the stuff that you have as politicians on the doorstep. Yeah, that, we realise that.
See, told you there were challenges. And things like, you know, a lot of this thinking, I've heard lots of people say, oh, this is madness, this is fluffy, this is wacky, it'll never take off. And there's still lots of people with their head in the sands. You know, but my question is, well, what's the alternative? Do we just be reductionist and managers, and do we just cut, like lots of other people are doing? There has to be another way, which is why I think this is such a massive opportunity. Some people are a bit worried because they don't feel that they naturally have ideas, but we feel confident that creativity is born in every single one of us. You just need a great process to draw that out. And as Peter said, one of the big challenges for us is going to be developing the new measures. Because some of the measures we have at the moment smack of hit targets that miss the point. But we've got to be careful in crafting the right measures so we're actually demonstrating the ways in which we're responding to community needs in the future. So that's the end of this session. I think there's one more, Pete. We're going to move on to a traditional budget process as we've known it anymore, and I think we all have to get used to that. It's just about us being efficient and effective. That's got to become the new day job, 365 days a year. It's not about a budget process that starts in September and ends in April. This is the new day job. It's as simple and it's as clear as that. It's not about an annualised process, because you may come forward with ideas today that we want to take forward that won't be in a state of readiness for next year, but they will be for the year after or the year after that. So this is very much about a genuine medium-term process. And it is paradigm shift stuff, isn't it? And a question I would ask some of the naysayers is, what's the alternative? And I think that's something that we may want to discuss this afternoon. And budgets, as they always will be, are going to be a great place for political difference. But these issues are universal. In fact, they're global, as Moina has pointed out. And I think the last point that I'd really like to reiterate is that we are all in this together.